ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
The polls are now closed, and all that's left to do is count the votes, as 2 Senate runoff races in Georgia will determine who controls the U.S. Senate.
Plus, ambulance crews in Los Angeles County told not to bring in patients unlikely to survive as COVID cases soar. We look into whether the same scenario could happen in San Diego.
And a dramatic scene as crews work to rescue a tree trimmer who got stuck on the job.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
The entire country is watching Georgia tonight, where the outcome of 2 runoff races will determine whether Democrats or Republicans control the U.S. Senate. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Derek Stahl. Lindsay Pena and Steve Atkinson have the night off. It's been 1 hour now since the polls closed. Thousands across the state of Georgia waited in line today to cast their votes, while more than 3 million ballots were turned in early. As ABC's Zohreen Shah explains, this is one of the country's most consequential and expensive elections.
On Tuesday, Georgia voters going to the polls one more time in a pair of runoff elections that will decide which party controls the U.S. Senate and will determine the trajectory of Joe Biden's presidency.
It's pretty empowering knowing that, having a vote can really shape the rest of the year.
We're here to make a difference.
Incumbent Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue and their Democratic challengers Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff making their final pleas to voters after none of the candidates achieved the required 50% threshold.
My name is on the ballot and the bus, but this is a collective effort.
Are you ready to show America that Georgia's a red state?
More than 3 million Georgians cast ballots in the early voting period, a record for a special election. Polls show both races as extremely tight. If both Democrats win, they will be tied with Republicans at 50 seats apiece, with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris being tiebreaker. These are 2 of the most expensive Senate races in American history, the 4 candidates spending over $500 million in ads since November 3rd and drawing big names to their state, including major celebrities. President-elect Biden campaigned here yesterday, and President Trump in his second trip to the state just last night. The president's visit coming as he continues to falsely claim he won and that there was widespread fraud in Georgia.
There's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way.
2 days after this phone call was leaked, where he is heard pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State to change the results.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
Some GOP leaders now fearing the repeated claims of voter fraud could suppress turnout.
We cannot trust any of these results.
Polls closed here just a bit ago. State officials have made some major changes here in the state since November's elections, but there's still a very slim chance that we will see final results tonight. It could take up to days. Zohreen Shah, ABC News, Atlanta.
And we are beginning to get the results tonight, and Democrats are out to an early lead right now. Democrats Ossoff and Warnock are leading by about 52% to 48% over their Republican challengers. Both Ossoff and Warnock are basically running the same because they were kind of a dual candidacy. They ran as a slate. Not too many issues to talk about. There were a couple of long lines, a few rural counties, about 4 of them had lines approaching an hour, but no major technical glitches to speak of. One county, Columbia County, did have to go to backup ballots. But again, Democrats out to an early lead right now. 23% of the vote is in. ABC News will have special coverage of the Georgia Senate runoff elections. You can join George Stephanopoulos and the entire ABC News political team for the latest results and analysis. Our coverage begins at 7:30 p.m.
Now to the latest on coronavirus in San Diego County. 28 new cases of the more contagious strain of COVID that emerged in the UK are now being reported locally. That brings the region's total of that variant to 32. And more than 1,800 new cases were reported today, bringing our total to 172,847. There were 56 new deaths. 1,654 people in San Diego County have died from the virus. Business owners in Carlsbad are pushing back against possible fines from the city for those who violate COVID shutdown orders. Many are defying the orders and staying open in order to survive. ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains why the city may crack down on those not following the rules.
Justin Jashura says his Carlsbad Mexican restaurant could survive at takeout only. Problem is, he doesn't want to hurt the workers at Senor Grubby's.
We'd have to lay off majority of our staff, and we have a lot of single parents working for us.
That's one reason Senor Grubby's is defying the cease and desist order it got from the county. It's part of a group of Carlsbad businesses continuing to reject the latest coronavirus shutdown order and serve on site. They're calling it a peaceful protest as ICU capacity in Southern California remains at 0%.
These are not laws. They're simply the arbitrary orders of a governor and a safety officer, and they have no basis in science.
The city says penalizing businesses who got county cease and desist orders require district attorney action and jury trials. With no action on that front, the city council is considering instituting administrative fines starting at $100 and growing to as much as $500 for repeat offenders.
The willful violations have steadily increased with a hands-off approach.
Jashura says dealing with the state and county is hard enough, let alone his own city.
That it's definitely put an additional stress on us. It's unconstitutional.
On Tuesday, before the council meeting, upwards of 40 business owners and their supporters demonstrated against the plan outside City Hall. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The meeting is happening now. We have a reporter monitoring it. We will bring you a live report on 10 News at 6.
Just last month, hospitals in San Diego County started to turn ambulances away as emergency rooms became overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients. In LA County, the situation is so dire, ambulance workers have been told not to transport patients that have extremely low chances of survival. ABC 10 News reporter Adam Rakusin looks into whether the same scenario could happen here in San Diego.
2 hours north of San Diego, it's a healthcare emergency. Los Angeles County hospitals pushed to the brink. On Monday, the county reporting 77 new deaths and more than 9,000 new confirmed COVID cases.
We're trying to encourage people to not call 911 unless they really need to.
Also on Monday, a memo from the Los Angeles County Emergency Medical Services Agency telling first responders in the field to stop bringing patients to the hospital if their heart stops beating, like in an event of cardiac arrest. That's if the patient can't be resuscitated in the field. The county also struggling with ambulances waiting for hours to offload patients or being diverted somewhere else. We asked healthcare providers and associations across San Diego County about LA's new ambulance policy, local ambulance diversion, and zero capacity situations. Most who responded directed us to the county's Emergency Medical Services Agency. A spokesperson for the County of San Diego says it's aware of a Los Angeles County EMS memo directing ambulance crews to not transport individuals who could not be resuscitated and stabilized. The spokesperson saying while the emergency transport system and emergency department capacity in San Diego County remains severely strained, San Diego County EMS has not issued a similar memo, and one is not anticipated at this time. In December, the County of San Diego made changes that allow hospitals to divert ambulances if their emergency rooms are already too full. According to the county, hospitals on county ambulance diversion only accept patients who are so critical that they cannot survive transport to another facility. A hospital can only implement the diversion in 4-hour blocks, which must be approved or initiated by the county.
It allows them to actually get a bit of time to process those patients that have already come into their emergency departments.
Adam Rakusin, ABC 10 News.
The California Department of Public Health says it recommends all health facilities, particularly hospitals, review the crisis care guidance and prepare for possible implementation of it. The state says it also expects facilities to post their crisis care plans and policies on their websites.
The FDA is rejecting the idea of speeding up vaccine distribution by cutting doses in half or delaying the second vaccine to get more people that initial dose. As ABC's Rena Roy reports, this comes as the surge of cases overwhelms hospitals across the country.
Hospitals coast to coast are under strain. In Alabama, healthcare facilities considering rationing care with an influx of coronavirus patients.
Any more come in or there's a surge of ICU patients that need care, we don't have nursing capacity to take care of them. We're running out of ventilator capacity to take care of them.
Over the past week, the U.S. has averaged more than 2,600 COVID-19 deaths every day, according to the COVID Tracking Project. That's roughly 109 every hour.
Rapid response, ED 17.
In hard-hit L.A. County, Martin Luther King Jr. Community Hospital declared an internal disaster, turning away ambulances for several hours. The COVID-19 positivity rate there is a staggering 32%.
It's nonstop. And it has been for the last few weeks, and we're all hands on deck.
Add to that the tough task of containing that new variant from the UK, also detected here in the U.S. Georgia now joining New York, Colorado, California, and Florida on the list of states with known cases.
By the time a new variant is detected, it's already probably widespread.
Scientists say it appears to be more transmissible, but not more deadly. This as the vaccine rollout sputters along. While some healthcare workers get their second dose,
this is the best way to start the new year.
Others are waiting in hours-long lines across the country to get their first, only to be turned away. Experts and local officials calling on the federal government to help ramp up distribution and vaccinations.
Lives are at stake. Federal government has to step up, finally, and do a better job of protecting American lives against this terrible virus.
Federal officials with Operation Warp Speed have shifted the responsibility to state officials, saying it is up to them to streamline the vaccine process when it comes to distributing and administering shots. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
You can keep up with any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
A man trimming a palm tree in Escondido got pinned upside down for 2 hours in his harness. It is certainly dangerous work, but his fellow arborists knew exactly what to do. ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty has the rescue captured by 2 freelance photographers.
These photos, taken from 2 freelance photographers, show the tree trimmer stuck in a harness, pinned in the tree skirt upside down for 2 hours. 2 arborists trained in tree rescue said it was no easy task. He said, "Help me, help me." They didn't want us to climb up there, but they gave me a chance to support him and give him water because he wasn't doing too well. It was really hard to get him and get him loose. When he was clearing the tree, they all fell on him and pushed him down. Escondido Fire Chief Tyler Batson said they called in special equipment, but with power lines and uneven ground, it was useless.
The big thing about the ladder trucks is they have a pretty big footprint. So in order to get the full capability of the aerial apparatus is you have to have stable footing. It has to be wide so you can set up the supports for the truck. And you have to have the base of where the ladder is relatively close to where the high point or the person that you're trying to get to.
Freelance photographers who specialize in emergency fire photos say this was a first for them, saying the rescuers really knew what they were doing, shooting up rescue lines with a potato gun and patiently and meticulously getting the man to safety. Chief Batson says firefighters train for tree rescues just like this, but sometimes the best resource is the people who do it for a living, giving credit to these arborists for saving one of their own.
And they did a fantastic and safe job.
In Escondido, Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
Quite an effort out there. Now, the man, we're told, was taken to the hospital, but should be okay.